Hello and welcome to Parenting Today. My name is Rebecca Miruri Mulure. This is a parenting show. I'm a parent myself. I have a 5-year-old and a 2-month-old. And it's going to be an exciting show because we have parents on this show, and we're going to have a doctor later on, Dr. Imran, who's going to demystify some of the myths around a child's health. But before we start, we have the two guests, a lady and a gent. They're going to introduce themselves and tell us for how long they've been parents. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Your name?
My name is Mugure Gaduru. I have been a parent for 4 years now, going on 5 actually, to a baby boy. His name is Ari Kio. Yeah.
Ari.
Yes.
Chris?
I'm Chris Wanga. I've been a parent for 11 years and maybe 3 months. I have 2 children, a girl and a boy. But I can say the first one, I wasn't so much involved. So I feel like I'm a new parent again.
That is exactly what we're talking about today.
Yeah.
New parents, like parenting as a fresh parent, so to speak.
Yes.
You know, you've never had a child before, and then here's a child now. What was that experience like for you? The moment you found out that you were pregnant, Mugore, tell us about that.
I remember the moment I found out I was pregnant. I actually found out 2 months, when I was already 2 months. I had no idea I was pregnant. And then it was shocking because I wasn't expecting. But of course, if you engage in some things, you know the consequences.
Yeah.
But I wasn't expecting. But when I found out, I was really shocked. I remember at first I wasn't happy. I wouldn't say I was happy because I was like, okay, what next? Oh my God. And then I started panicking. But then later I was like, I got this. I've always wanted to be a mom. I love children. Always babysitting my bro's kids. I remember when I finished high school, I'd go to children's home just for fun, to just babysit.
Oh, awesome.
Just to kill the day. So I was like, I know it's not gonna be easy, but I was excited after some time. So, but yeah, it's not as easy as it sounds.
We'll actually get there. Chris, when you found out that you're going to be the new dad in town.
I think responsibility is what came into my mind. What kind of a father will I be? Will I be able to raise this child well? Will I be a good father? How will I take care of the mother? Hope I won't run. Hope I'll be involved. Those are the things that ran through my mind. Where the finances will come from. Exactly. I think I saw it as a big responsibility. It's like, whoa, tunaanzia wapi? Yes.
I know a lot of people might actually be in the same position. You know, sometimes when you're a first-time parent, you don't know so many things. My experience was quite not so good because when I got pregnant first, we didn't know that we were pregnant. So I went about doing so many things and whatnot, which actually put the baby at risk. And at 5 weeks, I lost the pregnancy because I didn't know so many things. I actually didn't know that I was pregnant, number one, because I didn't know what it felt like to be pregnant.
Yeah.
So after that is when I became, so what I was feeling was actually pregnancy. Or that time when I felt like I didn't want that, the peanuts, that was pregnancy. So it was a bit too late to control it. But I mean, I'm happy we have such a show that you can be able to talk about such issues. So tell me about it, Mugure. So how was your pregnancy journey, and what did you learn along the way, and how did you prepare for the baby?
My pregnancy journey was not easy. I'd say I didn't enjoy it at all. I did not like being pregnant. I didn't like being pregnant because it changes a lot. It changes your moods. It changes your way of life.
Yes.
You do things you don't even understand, and then certain things irritate you. I remember, like, I couldn't stand sausages. I couldn't stand noodles, and those used to be my favorite. And then I couldn't stand toothpaste, and you can imagine you have to brush your teeth every day.
Not any particular brand, it was just
toothpaste, just the smell of toothpaste. So imagine it was torture every morning brushing my teeth. I'd always gag and be like, so it was like crazy. And then for me, I got depressed during that period because I felt alone. So many things just didn't make sense, and then your hormones are all over the place. So I was not even understanding how I was feeling, but I was 90% sad through that pregnancy journey. So it was not easy, and there's a lot I wish I knew about pregnancy and also being a mother, but I don't regret at all. I can't even imagine life without my baby right now. Yes, but it was, I'd say, quite difficult. Very difficult.
What are those give me like 3 things that you wish you knew at that time.
I wish I knew that, first of all, pregnancy changes you physically, because I always assumed like when you get pregnant you add weight. For me it was the opposite. I lost weight. Until today I've not gained it back, just a bit, but I totally lost weight. Every time I remember...
Were you feeding well?
I was still feeding normal. I remember every time I'd go to the doctor and they'd be like, you're losing weight instead of gaining, yet you're 2 of you, just make sure you keep eating. And I was eating, but I was just losing and losing. And then when I gave birth, I lost even like drastically. And then everyone would come visit and they'd be like, hey, uko sawa? Especially like the older generation, unakula kweli, unajua unanyonyesha lazima kule. I'm like, I'm eating. So it would really irritate me. And then of course self-esteem just went down. Like I didn't even like looking at myself in the mirror. My face had broken out. I just assumed when you're pregnant you just gain weight and then glow and just look beautiful. But I was like, I wish I knew that. I wish I knew babies don't sleep. I wish I knew that after they come out, it's actually harder than when they're in the stomach. Because in the stomach, you can still do what you want to do and move around. But once they're out, it's a whole other story.
It's a whole news.
And then you worry 24/7. Like you're just never at peace. I remember going back to work after my leave, and I couldn't even concentrate. I'm like, I've left my child with a nanny that I don't even know. I don't even know like where she comes from, her background. You just know the basics. And I'm like, is my baby okay?
Exactly.
Then I remember I was like, okay, let me just install cameras. And all I do is just look at my phone. Look at my phone all the time. Like wanafanya, calling all the time. So the worry, I was not aware of how much like that worry is. Yeah.
And for Chris, there you are thinking responsibility. The responsibilities have now gone up. There's one more mouth to feed, and then bam, the baby is here. The baby came, and how did that change your life?
To me, I can say maybe for the second born, it was I was prepared. I was prepared because I was ready, if I can say.
The first one?
The first one, I wasn't ready. I didn't even know. But as Gloria said, when you do some things, you just expect something to happen.
Yes.
Something will happen. The first one, no. I can say I didn't have a clue. I was zero, kabisa. Now,
in terms of what, like changing diapers? Or what
I didn't even get that opportunity because of I didn't stay with her.
Okay.
She was raised, I can say, with the mom. I wasn't there totally. So I didn't know so many things. So coming to now this I can say the second one, that's now I even appreciate the mother to my first baby. I wonder how she did it because it's tough. It's tough. Even if you are prepared, bado akitoka,
something else. But as a man now, I'd say that for a woman because like at night you guys just sleep and snore, and the mother has to take care of the child. Because you'll be going to work in the morning, unasikia angalia mtoto wako, But how is it for you
but to
as
me,
a man?
I think I made a decision to be involved. So I don't say, mimi naenda kazi wewe. No, I don't do that.
Okay.
I'm there. I change the diapers. Hiyo usiku tukilala, I'm the one changing the diapers. Alafu nimpatie sasa mnyonyeshe. I think I'm the one who hears him make noise akitaka kuamka. The cries. I think I'm the one kwa sababu mimi nimelala karibu naye I decided to do that, to be
intentional
very
parenting.
exactly. So I am there. Hata saizi tuliamka tu na yeye bado usingizi iko kwa macho, but I just have to be there with her to take care of the baby together. Because after reading and researching, now that we were expecting this second born, I knew it is a lot of work from reading. So I decided I'll be there for her. I'll be there. We walk together. We be the parents that we need to be there. So naweza sema yeye hajaumia sana. Maybe to her labda sasa now her own self, labda the body venye ana feel now, that one I cannot maybe do much apart from just encouraging her, helping her out so she relaxes more.
How old is the second born again? Sorry.
3 months. I think now 14 weeks.
Oh, great.
Yeah, we were just we did the 14-week jabs yesterday.
Yesterday.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're 3 months.
Yes.
Mugore, you spoke about the I don't know that to call it the prepartum depression and having to to go throughout the journey not feeling very okay. But when the baby came, you're saying how right now you're really happy about it. How did you overcome that period, and how has it been for the 4 years now?
I remember how depressed I was, and I didn't understand like what was happening. In fact, it's later that I realized that I was depressed. I didn't know I was depressed. I was just wondering, like, why do I just want to be alone? Why did I have like crazy negative thoughts of dying and stuff like that? I remember when I gave birth and I saw my baby, and I was like, oh, it's all worth it. I'm glad I pulled through it. But the first 3 months was still difficult. I remember sometimes the baby would cry and I'd just block out that noise and just ignore. My mom's aunt would come, "Uoni mtoto analia?" I'm like, oh, analia. Because I was just tired and just feeling fed up. But then every time I'd see the baby smiling, I'm like, oh my God, it brings me back to my senses. And then I'm like, this baby, I kept telling myself, this baby did not ask to be here.
Yeah, sure.
They didn't have a choice. Mi ndo nimemleta. So I'm like, kama nimemleta, sijamleta kusafa.
Exactly.
So then I have to just style up. I have to just pull myself together and just pull through. And fortunately enough, I had my mom, I had my parents there with me. So I stayed with them for the first 3 months, which really helped. So that's how I overcame it. And then just watching him grow up, especially when he started talking and he called me mama for the first time, I was like, oh my God. Yeah. And then
there's the I'm a mother, and then there's also the wow.
And then now that we can have conversations, like in fact most times when I'm sad, it's like they know, they feel that energy, and then like he'll just come kiss me for no reason and just be like, Mama, I love you. So that's how I've pulled through. So it's been such an amazing journey. It's like I learn every day. That the learning doesn't end. It doesn't end. I remember when he started school, I was like, whew, at least ameanza shule. He'll be away from home. But I didn't know that him being away from home, I'd spend the whole day worrying. Like, iyo basi tamfikisha kweli vizuri. I hope he's not going to get bullied in school. I hope the teacher is not atamchapa. So it's constant worrying. But it's beautiful and see it's just my son that has made me pull through this, to be honest.
Wow.
Yeah.
And they give us a reason to just wake up every morning
and work hard.
Yeah, so there are different parenting styles, and I think, like for me, I'm a cautious parent. I'm the type who do not do this, don't go there. Oh, you're going to fall. Wacha toka, But the dad is like, panda, uanguke. Enda na bike, oh, pole, umeanguka. I'm like, utaumiza magoti. Like there are different kind of, I think, parenting styles, but it all depends with, I think, your background. But when we have information, it's very easy, I think, to bring up children. And that's why we're going to have Dr. Imran from the Honeybee Clinic, Children Clinic, later on the show. So don't go away, keep it parenting today. Welcome back to Parenting Today. There are so many myths that surround parenting, and especially for first-time parents. You'll get ideas from your parents, your own parents. The community will have their own ideas on how you're supposed to bring up your child, on things that you should do to a to a toddler. You know, how to take care of a toddler. I was telling someone how over this Christmas period, we traveled to the grandmother's place.
Yeah.
My baby was like a month or two. The doctor will tell us whether it's right to actually travel with the child when they're that young. So on the first day, they brought, one of my mom's friends just came with this 3-liter jerry can of fermented uji, fermented porridge. Kambio hii tuongeza maziwa. And then the following day, an aunt came with a 3-liter jerry can of bone soup with herbs. They said it had herbs. Itaongeza maziwa. And I was like, gosh, if I stay here, I'm going to grow fat. I need to go back home. There's so many myths sometimes that surround the birth of a child. Do you know of any that myths that you demystified later on and realized like, wow, so it wasn't necessary for me to do this? And right now, that first-time parents can learn from.
Maybe, I'm not sure if it's a myth. Like now, maybe having the baby, how can I put it? It is not really normal, all the processes are normal. The vaginal delivery versus the CS.
Yes.
Many think when you have a baby through the vaginal delivery, you are the woman, you are now
because you felt the
strong,
labor pain.
Exactly. And when you have through CS,
soft life.
Exactly. That is a myth. I think to me that is just a myth. A baby is just a baby. Akikuja whatever way atakuja, the baby is just a baby. The thing that we need to maybe be thinking about, it's the normal child and the healthy mother. That is all that we need to.
Exactly.
So I thought that is a myth to me.
Okay.
Do I have any other myth? Maybe it is what you've said, what to eat. Njahe ndio inapatia nini.
Yes.
All those things. But sasa to us, we thought njahe itafanya mtoto a bloat.
Yeah,
They cries at night. So we refused some of them. So to me, maybe hizo pia ni myth. Yes.
And that's why actually you see the program is Parenting Today.
Yeah.
Our parenting today is very different from how our parents brought us up, I think. Any myths that you had?
Breastfeeding, that you must breastfeed your child. I agree it's healthy, yes. But what most people don't know is not all parents enjoy breastfeeding. I didn't enjoy it at all. That bond that people say that you have with
You create a bond with the child.
I didn't feel it. First of all, the moment I started breastfeeding, my nipples just cracked and then it was painful and you still have to continue breastfeeding. I remember when the baby would just wake up and cry and start crying. And then after a month, because I was so stressed, my milk ikaisha. So now moving from that to formula, you have people looking at you funnily. I remember people would come visiting and they'd be like, hey, no, you're supposed to breastfeed exclusively 6 months. So then it took me a while to even buy that formula, juu ya woga. But mtoto, the baby was suffering and wasn't getting full. So my mom was like, during your time when we gave birth, you'd leave the hospital with a tin of NAN formula for free. So why are you so scared to buy? She was like, go, your baby is suffering.
You can supplement.
Yeah. So I went, and from there, I was happy. And the baby was happy. We were both happy because I didn't like breastfeeding. And the baby alikuwa na shiba sasa. And the other thing is also overdressing the baby. Jaze masweta, shawl, wrap.
True.
Ay! That one also.
They call it the ninja.
Mpaka you wrap huku.
Kila kitu.
I'd say that is also very unnecessary. I don't know if it's a myth or whatever, but it's very unnecessary. Kids adopt to what you show them. For me, fortunately for my mom is from Mombasa. So fortunately for me, when I was staying with my mom, every time nikimvalisha sweater, napata ametolewa. nakasirika. I'm like, hey, unajua atashikwa na homa. She's like, hapana, ako sawa. She's like, if you're feeling hot, why is the baby
Yes,
like wearing a sweater and all those things? So yeah, those two things for me
were myths, so to speak. And
me.
Dr. Imran is going to tell us about that.
Whether because maybe I'm still wrong.
Whether exposing the child to cold, you know, in our own, inakwanga mtoto anasikia anahisi baridi. But I like what you said. If you yourself, feeling that cold, why would you think the baby is feeling more cold than you are? But I don't know.
And the sun is like out like this now. Umembalisha bushuri. You're outside and you're still taking the baby outside to bask.
Okay.
I think until now, bado we still fight because hakuna kumbalisha hizo vitu mingi.
There's some cultural practices, either cultural practices or some habits that our parents that would probably be passed on from our parents, either were passed on from our parents or we practice them and we don't know why we practice them. We don't really have do you have any of that you've experienced?
Maybe the biggest one, maybe it's circumcision. Maybe if you're having a boy child, circumcision, when to circumcise. Other cultures are after class 8, others are anytime. Maybe those are I think of that as one of the as one of the biggest cultural practice that we need to do to our boy children.
I think there's also the one for shaving hair. Like we don't know when the right time is to shave hair. And there are some cultures that you have to have the mother-in-law or I don't know, the grandma to be there to have to cut the hair. I think that is also something I'm never so sure about.
Like for me, my son was born with so much hair, like it was a lot, and the pressure I kept getting, but nilikaa ngumu, and I was like, no, it's not gonna happen. Like why is it necessary? And my grandma would tell me, nywele ya tumbo lazima itoke. Why? Mbona na nywele ya tumbo bado? I'm like, kwani hiyo nywele ya tumbo iko na nini? And my grandma would go on and on and on and on until one day I left my child with my mom and I came back to a bald head.
No way.
I was so annoyed. And also, as he said, circumcision, I circumcised my son day 2 after I gave birth. And I remember everyone was like shocked, like why? I mean, it needs to be when they're 13 so that they're talked to. I'm like, he can be talked to.
Yes.
For you, but why did you do it at 2?
Because I find it unnecessary. Why at 13? Why do they have to go through that pain? Like why? What is the importance of that pain? So that they can be said, so that he can be a man. But he can be a man through just being talked to. He doesn't have to go through. And I remember for me it was because I saw my brother. I'll never forget, we're in Mombasa and he was circumcised. And then he was really suffering with that heat. Alafu amevalishwa leso, and it just looked, wow. Like that image is still in my head. And I remember I was like, hey, my son will be circumcised. Mapema. And my other brother was actually circumcised also immediately after birth. So I was like, if my mom did it na ilikuwa those times, why should I wait until they're 13? So I did it second day, and it was the best thing ever, best decision. I do not regret, because it was taking care of the umbilical cord plus that together, and then they both fell off together. So so such things, that pressure I feel is unnecessary.
And it's actually more of a practice. I don't know. Sometimes you're never so sure what to do, but again, the background really matters. I know parenthood can really change your life in so many ways, and especially for couples. You're there and you're enjoying your best life, and then one day this other
Things
human
change.
just appears, and your attention shifts. Like it just has to shift. I mean,
it will.
Like it shifts. Did that affect your lives in any way? Like your relationships in any way? Did it affect how you related to your spouses? How you guys communicated? How did it affect it in any way?
Me, I think it did. It does. Now that we are still 3 months, because as you've said, the attention shifts to now the child. And me, my wife got the baby through CS. So I also think CS bado hajapona. So hata mimi wacha nijiconvince hapana, no, hizo sex na nini, hapana, no, but I think it may affect kidogo.
And especially for ladies, I think sometimes, you know, especially when you're a first-time parent, you're a first-time mom, you feel like you're not beautiful anymore. I don't know. And especially when you're pregnant, your nose is nosing, like your nose is big, and then the baby is here. You're not so sure whether your spouse will look at you the same way.
Yes.
You're thinking, now I'm lactating. You know, like you have so many bats. But you're not so sure about it. It's messy. So how did that affect you?
For me, I didn't have anyone at that point. We had fallen out with baby daddy. But I feel like if I did, it would have affected because I gave birth through the normal way. And I remember that was the most traumatizing thing. Mtu asikudanganye giving birth is easy.
It is not.
It was so traumatizing that I remember even when I started getting my period, I could not use tampons. Like I'd healed, but just
the mind body.
The thoughts.
Nilikuwa naingiza, it's not gonna happen. So I'm imagining like if I had someone, there's no way ningemwacha hata nishike, singewacha, and then as you're saying, you don't feel beautiful anymore. Ndio hiyo unaamka maziwa imejaa kwa bed sheets, and you're just looking messy. I remember it took me some time, and I was like, I need to get myself, together and just make myself feel whole again. So I even went now for shopping. As I said, I lost so much weight. So I had to change my wardrobe, change my appearance, because I was like, if I feel good, then probably someone else will see that I look good, and I'll stop feeling like I'm not. So it does affect. It really does.
And how do you think men can support women during this period? Because it doesn't affect you as much as it affects us as women.
I think we just need to try and understand, try to put yourself in her shoes, what she's doing. If you are the one doing that, will you be up and ready for anything? The way she was saying about lactation and nini. Yani, there's so much that goes through the body of a lady when they're giving birth during that time. So we as men, we just need to understand, try and understand. Now, to understand doesn't mean sasa uende utafute mpango wa kando. Ama uende sasa you marry the second one. Try to just put yourself in. For instance, you are the one who is sick. You cannot do something. You cannot have that. What will you do? What will you expect your partner to do? Exactly. Put yourself in that condition too. Because this is now somebody that you love, and you can just see hayuko sawa vile.
I think men really need to support women at that time. So tell us, I want you to also just send in your feedback and tell us what you think about this topic. Are you a first-time parent? How has this affected your lives as a couple, and also as a parent, as a new parent? How has it affected your life? Share with us on the addresses shared on your screen. After the break, we're going to have Dr. Imran from the Honeybees Children's Hospital Clinic, who's going to explain to us some of the issues that we will be talking about, like the umbilical cord. Do you have any questions for him? Do you have any questions that you'd want him to answer?
I'd like to know about the breastfeeding. They say exclusive for 6 months, but should you really, what are the benefits of it? I know immune system is built and stuff like that, but what's the difference if you give them the powdered milk, especially if you can't breastfeed? Also, the circumcision, the rubbing of the stomach, as you were saying, does that really help with the colic? Like, how do you go about colic? How do you treat it? Is there really a way of treating it?
Okay. Chris?
Maybe when is the right time to start bathing the baby? I've had many, maybe wengine after a month.
Where?
Maybe nilianza immediately after hospital.
So by bathing you mean like immersing them in water?
Yes.
As opposed to just wiping them?
Yes. Well, which one is maybe sour to do? Another one maybe how to change the diaper. I've seen somewhere there's a way you need to turn the baby when you're changing the diaper, I think because of the spine.
Okay.
And not lifting them up the other way. There's a way you turn, ama you lift miguu. So wanasema kilift mguu sijui na haribu the spine, but practically ukijaribu kumturn ngumu. So mimi nimeshindwa how do I do that? Me, I always just lift kidogo.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So maybe how to do that?
Maybe sleeping how many hours is necessary. Like my child just does not like sleeping. From when he was small until now he's 4. He does not like sleeping at all. And he still wakes up at night. He still doesn't do a full, he still doesn't do a full night. Like, is it something I did wrong? Like, is there, you know, like what could be wrong? Amma is the one who's broken. Like something needs to be fixed. Because he doesn't like sleeping from when he was a baby.
Okay.
He just doesn't sleep.
All right.
Yeah.
Dr. Imran, we have so many questions for you. That was Chris and Mugure. Thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you for having us.
I can assure you that your questions will be answered after this short break. Welcome back to Parenting Today. Right now I'm joined by Dr. Imran Karis of the Honeybee Children Clinic. He's going to demystify some of the myths that we spoke about with the parents and answer most of their questions and any other questions that you might have that we need to answer from a medical point. Karibu sana, Dr. Imran.
Thank you so much.
Tell us about Honeybee. That's a cute name.
Thank you so much. Yes, Honeybee is a relatively young clinic. Started about almost a year now, and it's located in Hurlingham. We basically do our sick visits and wellness visits. We also do a bit of counseling over the weekends, for bigger children, adolescents and the likes. And we have a basic structure of patient-centered care where we really involve parents to decide on a lot of the management roles and early referral systems so that children can move on with their lives and improve their quality of life. Yeah,
that's really nice. Like having a children clinic.
Thank you.
That is child friendly. I just saw the photos and I really like it.
Oh, thank you so much.
Now let's go to pregnancy. We are talking to first-time parents,
right?
Because there's so many things that go on during that season. That so many changes rather that would make them feel. Like if they don't have the right information, they might lose out on so many things. I think I shared my story earlier on, because I didn't know so many things. We didn't know so many things. So, to talk about the trimesters, the 3 trimesters.
2 trimesters, yeah. So I mean, obviously, there's a lot of excitement and sometimes surprise when parents find out, they see the double stripe. And they're like, okay, now, their lives are going to change over the next, 8 to 9 months. And so there's a lot of preparation, a lot of teamwork when it comes to couples. We also know there are a lot of single parents as well. So just the most important thing that has to go throughout all trimesters is nutrition, good nutrition. Because we look at something called the first 1,000 days of a child. And based on good nutrition and care while the child is within the womb all the way to the 2nd year of life, then early nutrition and supplementation of elements given early can improve the both IQ, neurodevelopment of the child, as well as growth of the child within, so that we don't have either premature labor or reduction in growth in the uterus.
In the uterus.
Yes.
I'm imagining like the first trimester is when a lot of women have the morning sickness.
Sure.
So what happens in such a case? Because feeding cannot be as good as expected then.
That's correct, yeah. So, there's big hormonal changes in the first trimester. And, it's a new concept to a lot of young parents, but there's also a lot of education and influence by the support systems in the family, the mother or the grandparents as well. So it's something just to be aware of, and good early antenatal care and good relationships with your gynecologist in case that there's difficulty in keeping food down early is important.
The baby is here. Let's talk about the first 2 weeks of life.
All right. So I'll start with the first few hours of life. I mean, that's the most important because that's where the bonding begins. Okay. So we advocate as pediatricians for early breastfeeding or early latching and delayed cord clamping. So if a baby is born stable, we try to say let's keep the cords on for a little bit more, and what that does is it helps in a lot of iron and nutrition still going in, so the baby doesn't get dehydrated as well. And so once the baby naturally is born, or either through cesarean section, they should be placed on mom. There's an instant calming effect on mom after all that she's gone through, and they do go through quite a lot. So once they're on babies can actually track the breast on their own. They'll even sort of cuddle and crawl all the way, and there are videos that show that there's a natural instinct that they get attracted to the breast and then they go and latch. But it's important to not separate the baby from the mother and to latch immediately. Once that latching goes on, it becomes an automatic sort of transition for the breast ducts to start passing out milk, contracting the uterus, reducing the bleeding in the mother in the first few hours, and then the rest is history.
Which brings me to the questions that had been asked earlier by the two parents that we had. I think one of them asked about exclusive breastfeeding.
Yes.
Whether it's okay to supplement with formula milk, and at what points. Let's talk about that.
Wow, yes, that's the big elephant in the room. And I think I'm a very big advocate for breastfeeding, okay? And I think it's the best. So why go second best, okay? We believe God wouldn't really push someone to have no milk unless, they're really sick or they're going through a lot somewhere or the other. But there's a sort of a demand-supply system that works with the baby. So the more the baby demands, the supply will come out. And sometimes we always say, when the baby cries and the milk just flows out, there's God's answer. Here's your milk, and you have 2 tanks, you have 2 breasts to feed the baby. So breast milk is the best, meaning it has everything the baby needs. No formula has ever come to match it, okay? It has even the good germs that we need as we breastfeed, the bonding, talk about, the connections that mother and baby make throughout life. You don't have to sterilize, you don't have to wake up, start sterilizing things and running around knowing is it clean or not. This is just a natural step, okay? And so that's why I advocate for it throughout life. Now, the only challenge comes in around the one month and 2 weeks. What I see there is something we call a growth spurt. Now, growth spurt changes because it changes the baby's way of asking for that milk, because now they'll be growing, and so their demands will be suddenly very high. And at that point, what I see is parents start saying, oh, I don't have enough milk. Why is my baby still crying? Why are we latching for hours? Before we would just latch and baby would sleep very well. Remember, the baby's tummy is also growing. It grows from a grape size to a lime size and more. So the amount that it's accommodating consumption is higher. So when they start feeding more, then parents start worrying and saying, I don't have enough milk. And just that, the thought process of being negative can reduce your milk.
And on breastfeeding, many would argue that, like you're saying, sometimes we complain as mothers and say we don't have enough breast milk. So what are some of the foods that we can take? We were taught about the black beans, and
a lot of that. It's an endless list, isn't it?
How does that food affect the baby's health?
Sure. So, I mean, as a baby's growing and the demands are getting higher and you are more worried about your supply, what you need to do is sort of balance everything, okay? Balance a bit of rest. If you're not rested, if you're stressed, or if work's calling you every time now and then to ask you about questions about work, then you're not really going to be, focused on the baby, and so there'll be a decline on milk itself. So you need a good attitude and a good, sort of a positivity through the whole process. Okay. Now, a lot of people are told to take drinking chocolate or cocoa. Okay, I don't see any connection with that, but there are certain type of drinks like especially those which are malt based. Okay, I wouldn't give names for reasons, but the malt based drinking chocolate types are the ones that really need to be taken more. You can actually even Google and look for recipes of lactation cookies. It's very easy to make if you know someone who really loves baking, cookies. The ingredients are very very cheap and easy to find. But
what are some of the key ingredients?
So there's a bit of fenugreek, a bit of dill. You'd find a bit of malt, brewer's yeast. Those kind of things really enhance milk production. Okay. And they're very easy to make. And then lots of fluids. So fluids does not mean milk. You don't need to take milk to make more milk. To produce milk. That'll worsen the situation, because milk can actually cause a lot of gas in the baby early on, okay, or eczema and what we call skin allergies on the baby. So what you need is fluid. Fluid means water, of course, basic, and then fresh fruit juice like watermelon juice has a lot of water. You can do a lot of soup, bone soup and vegetable soup, all right? A lot of porridge, all right? Avoid a lot of fermented stuff as well, because that's going to cause gas. So you need to sort of balance the whole process, okay?
Oh, that's really nice. I want us to move really fast on this one. So there was a question on circumcision. When is the right time to circumcise a child?
So I wouldn't call it a right time, because there's a lot of, it can be done as soon as birth. It can, be done later on in life. It's based on a lot of cultural practices. I'll talk more from medicinal or medical point of view. We advocate for circumcision because of the hygiene that it helps bring, and as well that if it's done earlier, then the child doesn't have to get traumatized later. Now, in a medical point of view, I've seen children going through it traditionally in a setup where things are not done in a sterile manner. Okay, I wouldn't mind if you do it at 13 or whenever you're growing up or being transitioned to adulthood, but you do it in a medical facility by a certified pediatric surgeon who does a good clean job, less infection, less complications, because it's a big deal. So if that can be integrated with the culture, fair enough. But out there's a risk of getting HIV, hepatitis, and all sorts of other infections if it's done sort of, not in the right way. But as early as, in our culture, in our religion, we do it in the first week of life, so that when you're leaving, all the things that are done on the baby are done. And healing to do. And with babies, the healing is really fast. And nowadays, even just, doing it with a ring, the ring falls off in a week, 2 weeks, and you're done. And it's a nice, clean, process. Yeah.
Okay. There was the question on sweaters and of addressing the child, whether we always think that the child is feeling cold, like
or
all
get
the time,
pneumonia,
like
right?
They're going to get pneumonia. And we dress them like ninjas.
Ninjas, yeah.
Pneumonia.
So, like again, I said, it needs to be a balance. A balance is key, because yes, you're trying to allow this child to adapt in an environment which they were not used to. Their skin is very immature. They don't have thermoregulation like we do. We can, we shiver when we're feeling cold. Babies can't shiver. They don't have adipose fat or fat under their skin to keep them warm. And so we have to understand that these babies have that, and so we have to cover them. But then there's always the extreme ends where you undercover and overcover, okay? Then there's also the fact that babies do sweat, and they will sweat. I get that question a lot. My baby is really sweaty. But that's part of the skin sort of growing and learning about different temperatures. How do I regulate it? So if you're overdressing, yeah, exactly. So when you overdress, then you sweat more. And then that'll get cold, and then the baby will get cold, and then the temperatures can go down, and it's not a very good thing. So you'll have to find the balance. If your room or ambient environment is warm, then underdress your child, but just cover them with a sheet. For example, if they're sleeping, you don't have to do lots of blankets and things like that. Just light covering with a sheet, good enough. Okay? Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dr. Imran. I'm sure most first-time parents have learnt a lot from what you've taught us today. So if you're a first-time parent and you still have questions, kindly send them in through our social media sites on your screen right now. We'll have them answered. Until next time, have a lovely parenting. My name is Rebecca Miruri Mulure, and this was Parenting Today.
Welcome to Tile and Carpet, where we deal with everything you would need at home, in the office, restaurant, and hotels. We offer solutions to all your needs. We have a wide range of roofing solutions, tiles, sanitary furnishing, and interiors. We have exquisite furniture, elaborate dining sets, and classic comfy beds. Our prices are affordable across board. Feel free to visit us in any of our different branches in Mombasa, Kisumu, and Nairobi. We also do site visits and offer clients with professional advice. You can reach us on this number for the site visit.